Bonjour. My name is Jim Schlender, and on behalf of the Lac Courte Oreilles Band, we're here to file our opposition to this mining bill. There's three major points, and I'll try to be brief. As an attorney, sometimes that's a little bit difficult. But the first point is that the state of Wisconsin has a government-to-government relationship with the bands, and that's based on the treaties that were signed back in 1837 and 1842. We're currently right now sitting in the 1832 ceded territories, and one of the major provisions of that treaty is the right for the bands to survive and work with the with the people of the citizens of the state of Wisconsin for the hunting, fishing, and gathering rights that we have that was reserved, that's necessary for all of us to preserve our way of life. But there's another provision in there that gets forgotten, and it's called the usual rights of occupancy. And what that means is that we have to coexist and learn how to responsibly exist together. And so one of the things that this legislation does is that it threatens to disrupt that balance and that cooperation. That's necessary for going forward and for preserving the rights that we have. We can talk about how these jobs are important, but if the mining thing is moving forward, and I say the mining thing because it's not even clearly articulated how the mine is going to be impacted or how it's going to come in there, but it's the one thing that's clear from past experience is that mining examples in the past have damaged the local ecosystems, the water quality standards, the fish and the wildlife that are in the area. And so if you deplete and remove that at the expense of what jobs are, you're also impacting other jobs. And so that goes into tourism, that goes into just the normal existence that people have. I mean, the water quality itself is such that we can talk about how we have resources that we need to share, but the water is something that's vital to our existence. That's something that we cannot survive without. The studies can show that food is 2 weeks, but for 4 or 5 days without quality water, we also will be depleted as a resource. The second part that goes to the opposition of this is the manner in how this legislation is being conducted. We stand here, literally split into two groups as we try to figure out what is the best way to modify the legislation. We need to remember that history has shown us that when the government starts coming in and tinkering with legislation, that the impact doesn't fall back on that government, it falls back on the people of the region and the areas. And I say that, and it seems like we've forgotten how when the banking industry wanted to come in, is that 3 minutes? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
All right, any questions? Excuse me. Any questions from the committee? Representative Malevsky?
Thank you for being here. Just expanding on, you were getting into some of your water quality concerns in the bill, and just speaking only on the bill now. So would those concerns be related to the superseding of certain environmental laws in the bill as it relates to tribal lands and downflows from the mine itself?
Those water qualities impact more than just tribal lands, but yes, that goes right to the heart of it. And it goes that supersedes the federal level, the tribal level, and the state level. And so those are concerns that need to come in there because those are the scientists that came in and developed those parts per million to show where those different impacts from the ore and from the different mining activities, and that water quality drops. I mean, we're already dealing with trying to protect the Great Lakes as a water resource, but yet when we get inland, we're saying that the water doesn't seem to have that same type of importance. That water, we have something to be proud of, and to sell this out for something that, even in 30 years, that's still a drop in the bucket in terms of the impact of how that water would change.
Madam Chair, just a couple other points. Obviously, the tribes, via your treaties, have a significant legal presence and also interest in any type of laws related to wetlands, mining, and the like. Have you been, since you mentioned the process, have you been involved in providing any amendments to the bills or in the initial drafting of the bill so that some of your concerns could have been brought at the forefront of the legislation itself?
We have. There's a couple different tribal entities, tribal regulatory entities that have worked on that. The Great Lakes Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission, which is a regulatory agency charged out of the 7th Court decision, which is known as the Voigt decision, has worked on that. Individually, tribes have been working on developing their own delegated authority under the EPA for water quality standards to protect the water that impacts not just the region where they live in, but the outside surrounding communities. There's been other attempts to try to get a time in and talking with local representatives in terms of the state and with the federal.
And just finally then, with your concerns that you kind of got into and that you'd like to get into, do you feel that the legislation, though, as it currently sits, is somewhat there, not even close? Where are we at so that your people that you represent, natives and non-natives, can support the legislation?
The legislation is one. It seems to be very focused and very narrow to address a specific interest, but the impact of that is broad in terms of its overall implementation. When you have a specific mining company coming in and requesting a specific audience with the Wisconsin legislature, and then fine-tuning that legislation to benefit them, that seems to be. It almost seems to kind of be illogical in terms of its application, because we have an outside entity coming in to ask to change the laws for the state, and then it stays for, at the best, 30 years, but it's the citizens that seem to have to carry the ramifications of such changes going forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone down here? All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you.